Watch a green light hit and a motorcycle vanish before your brain finishes registering the sound. 1 second, it's there. The next, it's a shrinking point in the distance. You blink, you missed it. If you've ever stood at that intersection wondering what drives a person to live like that, not with concern, but with genuine curiosity, this is for you. Because the answer isn't what most people assume.
Here's the first thing people get wrong. Speed isn't escape, it's arrival. The human mind, left to itself, is ungovernable. It drifts into regret, rehearses conversations that haven't happened, builds anxieties out of nothing. This is its default state. Not laziness, not weakness, just the nature of a brain with too much capacity and too little to fully occupy it. But put that same brain on a motorcycle at triple digits and something fundamental shifts. The drift stops. Not because you forced it to, because the situation made it impossible. Every vehicle becomes a moving equation. Every surface tells you something. Your hands, your knees, your spine, all of them are reading the road faster than language can keep up with. There is no bandwidth left for yesterday. None for tomorrow. The present moment doesn't feel meaningful. It feels like the only thing that exists. This isn't poetic license. Neuroscience has a name for it: transient hypofrontality. At peak physical and cognitive demand, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of self-doubt, social comparison, internal narration, goes quiet. Not suppressed, displaced. The machine is too busy running to argue with itself.
The riders who want speed most are rarely the reckless ones. Off the bike, they are measured, deliberate, patient in ways that surprise people who only saw them at full throttle, because they understand, bodily, not theoretically, what happens past the limit. They've felt the margin close. They've learned where the line is not by reading about it, but by approaching it with their whole nervous system and pulling back at exactly the right moment, over and over, until that knowledge lives in their muscle memory rather than their reasoning. What looks like recklessness from the outside is, underneath, a practice of precision. Observers see the speed. They don't see the 10,000 micro-adjustments beneath it. They don't see the hours of mapping, the calibrated restraint, the deeply specific understanding of exactly how much is too much. Most people manage risk by avoiding it. Stay in the slow lane, keep distance, call caution wisdom, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a different relationship with risk exists, one that develops through direct, repeated engagement rather than careful avoidance. When you stop treating danger as abstract and start learning its actual shape, fear transforms. It stops being a wall and starts being information. Fast riders aren't people who feel less fear. They're people who've processed it so thoroughly it no longer distorts their perception. It's data now, useful, specific, honest. That's a different kind of courage than the kind that comes from never being tested.
What a fast ride actually feels like is almost impossible to translate. Empty road, pre-dawn cold. The throttle opens and the world, all of it, every weight you carry to the bike, compresses into the next 2 seconds. Not because nothing else matters, because nothing else exists. Time doesn't slow down the way people say. It becomes more dense, more real. Each fraction of a second holds more information than an entire ordinary hour. Athletes call it the zone. The difference is most athletes stumble into it unpredictably, as a gift the body occasionally decides to give. Riders with enough experience don't stumble. They know the entrance. They have a machine that takes them directly to it, reliably, on demand. That access to something resembling complete presence is not a small thing. For certain people, it becomes the reference point by which everything else is measured. There is something that happens when a rider finds the real limit. Not the theoretical limit, the actual one. The moment where the body's understanding of itself gets rewritten. Riders who come back from that edge don't always come back shaken. Some come back clarified. Something unnecessary was burned away. What's left is a cleaner, more honest sense of self. And that honesty extends outward. Inside communities built around speed, performance is the only currency. There's no shortcut through status or personality. You hold the line or you don't. The corner either works or it doesn't. That brutal transparency changes how people relate to each other. The respect that forms in those spaces is real precisely because it can't be manufactured. Now, the honest part. Every serious rider has done the arithmetic. They know the margin shrinks as the speed rises. They understand that at velocity, the consequences of a mechanical failure, a misjudgment, another driver's inattention become absolute. No negotiation, no second draft. They know this. They ride anyway. Not because the calculation was wrong, because they made a different kind of calculation. That a life lived at full intensity, even a compressed one, is preferable to a long life spent at a careful distance from everything that makes them feel real. This isn't an endorsement. Motorcycles at speed are genuinely, unforgivingly dangerous. But understanding why people choose that danger anyway, what it gives them that nothing else does, that's worth sitting with. So the next time a motorcycle disappears into the horizon ahead of you and you feel that thing, that complicated mixture of alarm and something you can't quite name, stop asking whether they should be doing that. Ask yourself something harder. When was the last time you were so completely inside a moment that everything before it and everything after it simply ceased to exist? When was the last time you felt this present? For fast riders, that's not the reward. That's the whole point.